think it's working.
So we're reconvening again. I'm very happy to see all the engagement in the room. It's what we're after. So we're going to keep on going for about an hour, and then we will break for lunch, where you will have wraps that are probably going to be just outside the room. But I'll hand over the floor again to you, Marta.
Hello? Testing? Testing. Oh, so is it working? Yes, it's working. Okay. I don't hear very well. Let me just share my screen. Mm. Matt, if I could have your assistance here, please. Thank you so much. You. Mm. Oh, there we go. Okay, wonderful. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for all the great engagement we had in the first half of the session. And we want to continue that engagement in the second half. We have 1 hour remaining. But again, I just want to reinforce the message that, we're really here to support you. We're here to answer any questions and concerns that you may have. So do not be shy. Please speak out if you have even the slightest doubt about anything. And also, when you, in the future, when you do start working in the OSD or currently working in the OSD, please feel free to, at any moment, reach out to myself, Patrice, Julie, or Christina Palesh to receive support in any issues or I mean, resolving comments or whatever it may be in the OSD that you need support in. We are always here to help you every step of the way. So now let's look at the automating the process. So the online draft circulation for commenting. So I'm just going to go over a couple of the principles, the rules, and so forth. And then we'll go again into a nice demo with Patrice, and you'll be able to answer any questions you may have. So again, just looking at the document life cycle here, you can see there is a repetitive cycle, again, when it comes to authoring, to commenting, to comment resolution. And we're going to focus on the 1020, the 2020, and the 3020 member commenting stages of the document life cycle and show you how that works in OSD and then provide you with a live demo. So when it comes to initiating the commenting phase, as much of you are probably already aware, you are responsible for initiating the commenting phase at XX20 by creating the ballot or the CD consultation or balloting and project application. So that happens at different sub-stages of the project. So at 1020, you have the NP ballot, which is automatically created for you via the e-form 4. I always have a tough time saying that one. You have the 2020, which is the working draft study consultation, which is created by the working group convener. And you have the 3020, the CD consultation, which is created by the committee manager. Some of the guides in the development process is that OSD automatically manages the features and the permissions based on the stage of the document, which we've shown you how that works in the OSD. So again, you have your working group members that are in the global directory. Permissions are assigned by the leaders to the online document, and then you can collaborate based on the roles and permissions you have assigned to the document. So when the commenting phase is really initiated, the OSD, it becomes automatically attaches itself to an online document. So we'll show you how that looks in the OSD during the ballot and the consultation. The contributors are automatically given access to the online document, and OSD locks the ability to edit that document for the consultation duration. So here's just a quick screenshot. So to shows how committee managers and conveners can launch a ballot or consultation in a commenting phase. So in the right-hand corner of this screen, which we'll also demo to you later on, you have the three dots available, and you can launch a new ballot or a new working draft study directly via these options. So currently available in the OSD is we have the NW1 proposal ballot at 1020, the working draft study, as well as the CD consultation. This is what it looks like. So when in the online document is available for commenting, you can see you have under the reference documents and links, you can just click on the access the online document and you will be redirected to the online document. So it's automatically, like I said, attached to the consultation, and the contributors are automatically provided access, and the contributors vary according to the project stage, so it's very important to bear in mind. So commenting during the working draft study. So the working draft study aims to gather comments with the working group members. So working group members that are working on the draft. So experts are invited to provide their comments on the mature draft before it goes into the committee CD consultation stage, CD stage. The experts provide those comments on their own name in the online document, and comments are visible to all of the experts of the working group during the working draft study. So experts can really support each other's comments and reply to those comments. Now let's look at the 30.20, the member commenting process. So members, liaisons must submit comments to ISO directly in the OSD platform. So currently we have two different options available for national comments. We have the national commenting for option A, which means whether your national mirror committees are in the global directory. And luckily for you at CIS, you are, which is fantastic. Tomorrow, oh, is there an echo? Option B, so that's national commenting, providing the commenting template. So this is what you're currently used to. And then you need to do an upload from file back into the OSD if you are already working in the online document. So we're not going to dive into that today because tomorrow there is a specific training where the process of voter commenting in the online document for option A will be provided.
And
So
just a short comment on that, Marta.
Yep.
Sorry, the training tomorrow is only for CIS personnel, but bear in mind that is to help you in the mirror committees later on how to our personnel will then help you experts comment later on, so that if you feel confused that why am I not invited, that's the reason.
Sorry, it is for internal members only. All right, I will pass the floor on to Patrice, who's going to walk us through those wonderful features.
So during the break, I called our technical team. They actually are releasing today a new version of the OSD, which explains all the problems that we faced. So it shows even we need to coordinate, very well to ensure that this doesn't happen when we visit members. So really sorry again about that. But this new feature has great stuff that we'll be showing also later on. Okay, so here we are really looking at the work. We're going to look at two things. We're going to look at technical commenting. What does technical commenting mean during the technical rounds? And we are going to look at resolving comments at any round, like technical resolution, but also member commenting resolution. So like Lisa said, tomorrow we are going to ensure the people who submit the comments do a good job, that your work is easy. Because today we have things to improve. So we'll also talk about it as how you can prepare for that while we mitigate that with Marta, visiting members and telling voters how they're supposed to do a good job. So the technical drafting, commenting can happen in two forms. The first one is unstructured. The contributors you nominate, they can make comments. Or it can be formalized through a working draft study. When you initiate a working draft study, you decide of a date, like 1st of January, and on 1st of January, the document is frozen. Nobody can make any changes anymore. And for the duration of the working draft study, all your working group experts, including yourselves, become contributors. So that ensures that for the duration of the working draft study, there's no changes. Everybody sees the same thing. Everybody makes their comments. And then at the stage 2060, you will resolve all these comments. So you will get your leader role back. How does commenting happen? Well, it's super straightforward. And if you were wondering if we support line numbers, we don't. Nobody wants line numbers here, I suppose, because the OSD is super precise. So I need my glasses, actually, that precise. If I want to comment on that full stop here, I can select it, and I'm going to make a comment on that full stop. So here I'm going to say it's a technical comment. So I can choose if it's a general or editorial comment. Let's say I'm not an expert, so I'm going to say nonsense. But this full stop should not be here. Don't know where it can be, but it can't be here. So I'm saving this comment. Voluntarily, I'm making a comment, not a proposed change. And you can shout. The directives support the fact that we're supposed to make proposed changes. But you notice that we can do two things in OSD. I can make a pure comment, and actually something even more heretic. I can make a global comment. This standard is useless. Matt, you like this kind of comments, right? So right now we've designed the OSD to be super flexible in the way you address the comment, and we can drive, how we refrain certain type of comments later on. So we are exploring this to not let members make just comments or global comments. They would make only proposals. But at technical stage, especially when you start drafting, so let's say you're setting up your project team, your actual project team, 3-4 authors. This is super useful. It's almost like a chatting feature that they can use. And we were discussing during the break, I think that there was a great discussion we were having. At the very beginning of your drafting, you don't need to be that formal, where you need to track everything and all. It can be a phase where you have your 4 or 5 authors, they have a playground to work and come with a first version of the draft. And here, they can just draft freely, create comments that don't need to be checked afterwards. They're just trying to create a draft. So you can also see the tool this way. It's a new opportunity for you to work differently. So here at technical stage, I can make general comments. They apply to basically everything, or they could also apply to different parts of the standard. So let's be more rational. Here I'm going to create a global comment saying Toto should be a Tata everywhere in the standard. So I don't have to go everywhere Toto is mentioned. I'm making one comment that you can then, as a project leader, okay, you get it once. You don't need to have it 25 times and resolve it 25 times. So should be Tata everywhere. And that's a technical comment. Let's say it's editorial. I'm saving it. So basically, you start creating these bubbles, and you can select a word, a sentence, a paragraph. So here I'm commenting on this paragraph, and this time I'm going to make a proposed change. So when I click here, I still have to justify why I'm making that comment. This is why. And here I'm going to say ISO and our best friend from the IC. And you can see I'm making an actual change. So I can see in track change here what I'm actually deleting or adding into my proposal. And for you as project leaders, you're going to get that. You're going to get a very actionable, documented change on the document that you can then apply. And we'll show you how. Once the bubbles are created, they become visible by all the working group experts. They can start supporting or not supporting these comments. So that's super useful if you don't want a comment, to be done 25 times by 25 different experts. They can use this feature to say, so I do not support this comment. This standard is very useful, and you start having, richer comments which are made across the group. And that's the same as the working draft study. So during the working draft study, if you go in 1 week, you will see all the comments previously made by other experts, and you can start contributing on them. And you can pass that message with your working groups. Start being more efficient. Look at what your colleagues are doing. This is a collaborative environment. So don't recreate a comment that already exists. It will be more work for me as a project leader to resolve these comments. So basically, you can start supporting, you can provide replies. And when we are done with the commenting phase, we are going to look into managing these comments and resolving them. So the first thing, because everything is centralized, you have a dashboard. So here we have only 7 comments, but it would work the same if we had hundreds of comments. And you're going to quickly see the hotspots in your document, in which clauses the most of these are general comment, global comments. But you can see that this term has 2 comments, and you would see here the clauses where most comments appear. You can see the breakdown per type. And here you have access to the list of comments. So I'm going to collapse, and I can just go in the forward and see the comments that apply to the forward. Right now, we don't have many comments, but I could have hundreds of them. And I'm going to actually need to organize these comments to resolve them well. The first feature you have available is what we call the tags. So what are tags? If you think you have urgent comments that need to be addressed first, you can create as many tags as you want, like, wattage issues, manufacturing, industry, legal, duplicates. So you create tags, and then you can assign these tags to the comments. So people are saying that this standard is useless, so this is an urgent topic tag we need to address. So once you have your meeting, you can tell people here in the filters, you can share your screen. I'm going to focus on the urgent comments, and that removes all the noise. We only have these comments which are urgent. I filter them. They're on my screen. They're on your screen as well. And let's look into them. And you can combine tags as you want. You can have urgent comments dealing with baby seats in China. I don't know. You can really combine them as you want. Then sometimes you might need to merge comments together in what we call topics. So what are topics? Topics is you want to group comments together because they need to be discussed as a global pool of comments. Maybe it's 20 comments that you got on a single phrase. They are all relating to the same thing, but they are a bit different. So here what you can do, you can select them and you can create a topic. So I'm taking the 2 comments which are global, and I'm going to create a topic title that I'm calling special comments. But here you could really have different use cases. You could really, have duplicated comments. You could have all the wattage issues of your standard into one, all the editorial comments into one. And what that does, here we are going to show all these comments together. And they could be across the entire standard. They could be global comments, comments on the annexes, comments on clause 4. They are just displayed together. And here you get a specific field where you can put discussions. So, you know, we are discussing these 25 comments. We agree that the right way to phrase this sentence is this, and you can save all your contents here. And your working group experts have access to this. They can read it. So, you know, I made that comment. I see it's been grouped in a topic. It's been put there with all the other comments on the side. The discussion is saved. And then afterwards, when you want to resolve the comments, so basically you see the two comments here that were in the topic. I'm selecting them all. And we are going to partially accept them. And we are going to say, as agreed on October 1st, 2025, but you can save anything you want for the motivation of the resolution here, and you're resolving the two comments at once. So you could have 100 comments in that bucket. So let's say that you have 101 comments on the same paragraph. One you're going to accept, and the 100 others, you partially accept them or you reject them because you've accepted that comment. You have two resolutions to make. One for the first comment that you accept, and one other resolution as a bulk for the 100 other comments. So that should save you time. But as you use the tool, let us know if something is missing there. You may want to add attachments to topics. I don't know. You might need, you know, to add documents to justify how you resolve a topic. You may want to have topics going across different documents when you revise a document in parts. All this doesn't exist yet. We need your feedback to know if that would be useful or not. When you resolve a single comment, I'm going to now clear this because this is gone. You have the basic resolution statuses, so you can accept, partially accept, not accept, note, and defer a comment. I'm always very confused with these two statuses because these are not really statuses. Something we can work on in the future. But I'm not going to extend my time on this one today. And basically, when you accept or partially accept a comment, you can also reuse the motivations that you've already created. So you remember we typed this just before? Well, very often you can draft your resolutions, you know, based on a meeting and a place and all that. And then you simply select it and it applies to the new resolution of comment that you're making. And as you go to the manage comment dashboard, you see how you're progressing with your work. You see how many comments you have left to resolve. And I forgot to mention one thing, which is quite interesting. When you create topics, it's a bit like an issue management system. So here I'm hiding these two comments here. Let's say that this is about cars and safety. I'm saving that topic. When I go back in the management model, your topics will show here on the right. So you can organize, you know, all your comments into different buckets, and you can address them one by one. That gives you, you know, clear visibility also how you go through the process of solving the comments. And that's something that your working group experts can also see. And that's at all stages. So 2060 for the working draft study, but also 3060, 4060, 5060, because you're going to resolve the comments of members in the exact same way we've shown now. So what we are going to do tomorrow is to ensure that the quality of the comments you see here are good. So we are going to engage with CIS personnel, but also extensively with the other members, because that's something we need to work on. We don't want you to have comments which are unactionable. So the comments has to be actionable, it has to be clear, it has to be justified, it has to be positioned well. Those are things we are going to make sure happens so that your work is then facilitated with these features. Yes.
For the example you took where there were 100 comments on the same section or subsection, and you partially accepted all of them, what happens if you have 50 proposals for change, different changes? What will be the proper management then?
Okay, so to apply the change in the publication, right? Yeah, so that's a very valid point. I'm going to show you. So I think I created another comment down. this one. So that's an actual proposal where I'm proposing to replace the word description by documentation. So here, when I click on accept, you see I have a new option that appears here, which is called apply changes. And when I do that, everything has been done automatically for me. It means we validated the change, and now I can basically resolve the comment, and my change is done. Obviously in track change remains. But that's the only use case when you can apply a change. If it's a partial acceptance, you need to accept the comment. So I'm going to show you. Let me first make another one. So I'm making a new proposal here. So it's not metadata registry, it's metadata register. I don't know, whatever. I'm putting a motivation here. And here, as a working group, this is not exactly how you want things to be. You want something different. So basically, you're going to partially accept it in the resolution of the comment. You're going to bring a motivation saying final is, I don't know, metadata extended register. That means nothing. And you're going to resolve it, but then you'll have to replicate the change in the publication. So the only way you can apply a change is if there's an exact match with the way the proposed change has been made. Yeah, because especially if you have 50 different ones, it's going to be more work for you afterwards if you have to accept something and you've kind of lost what was there before. And this is where this ties very intimately with the document changes that we've seen before. So ideally, as you go along, when you resolve the comments, you start by saving a version. Before you start addressing the comments, you save a version. Then you address, let's say, the topic number 1, which is the urgent comments that have an editorial impact or a technical impact on your draft. You put them together, you address them. You can export these comments in an Excel file if you need it for, safekeeping. And then you create a version where you've resolved and adapted the changes. And then you can compare the way we've seen before, document before, document after, and you have that list of comments that were addressed. But here we also need your feedback when you start using these features. So is it easy to use? Is it complex? What is missing? We need to know, but that's a good base to get started.
Yes. In the example you had with the full stop, and you classified that as technical, and whereas it is obviously editorial. It happens all the time that, well, people note editorial when they're actually technical changes, and the other way around. How can we change it?
I like your questions. Huh? You're amazing today. That's really amazing. So as leaders, you're the only ones here who have the capacity to change. That was not planned, I promise. The comments. So basically, you can change the type of comments in this comment management place here. And also, one thing you can do, which can happen sometimes, this full stop is here, and let's say for any reason that you want to, that's a comment that applies to something else. You made a change in the document, so let's say I'm removing this. So now this comment should not be positioned here anymore. So you have a move feature. I'm going to click on it, and now this applies to this. So you can reposition the comment as you go along. So if you make an impacting change in your standard, you can reposition the comments where they really matter, so that the expert who's going to go back into the document afterwards, he sees the new context of that comment. And here we also need your feedback, because this is great, but it's work. If you have 1,000 comments and you need to move them along, we need to understand, like, is this making your work easier or harder? better or worse, easier, harder, slower, longer, because we need to assess, how we simplify your work, how we make it faster, more efficient. But there is certain steps, like for the voters, we'll discuss it tomorrow. There's extra work for them because now they are part of this chain, of value. So they need to put in the time so that your time is not harder afterwards.
Okay. Hi. Well, I have a question which regards both the editing part and also this commenting part. I have understood that it has some work to do regarding accessibility and that it's not accessible for persons with visual impairments. So what are your plans for that? Because they can't edit, they can't read, and they can't comment.
So for accessibility, actually Sen has taken the lead on this because we have no expertise at ISO. We are not scared to say it. It's a very specific field. So the Sen has, Sen Senelec has put up a team with people who are very knowledgeable. And that team is currently engaging with the Fonto product team at, really the tool level. And Fonto will propose in 2025 improvements to solve such problems. So we'll keep you updated. If you're very keen on knowing what's going on in this area, give us your mail and we'll keep you updated.
Great, thank you.
There was one great question during the break of one of you. How can I use the tool if I'm offline? You can't use the online features when you're offline. That's obvious, but that's the truth. So if you're in a plane, if you're in a train, you can read the document, but you're offline. The tool will tell that to you. You can't resolve a comment. You can't change the draft. There's no way for us yet to integrate that change when you resume a connection. You can also export stuff out. You can export the comments out. You can export the PDF out if you want to read. If that's a real use case you have, that you need to work offline sometimes, please escalate it to us. At the moment, this is more of a, we don't know yet what is the level of this problem. We need to be able to identify it, to also raise it to TMB, because this is something we could potentially solve with technology, but at the moment, we don't get that feedback that much.
A question. We have one technical committee who is cooperating standards with ASTM. We have parallel balloting phases for the ASTM members to comment. Is this possible for them now to comment then in the OSD tool, or how shall we solve this?
Okay, so joint projects. That's also a very interesting topic. ISO IC. We have ISO IC joint projects, ISO IC ITU, ASTM, many different collaborations. For certain collaborations, there's a mapping of the users in the global directory. I know it's the case for the ISO IC projects. So when you initiate a draft, in theory, all these users are in the system. I don't know about the ISO ASTM. They are in global directory as liaison representative, or are they in any way in our systems?
Yeah, we have joint groups.
Okay. If they are mapped, you should be able to get access and you should be able to do everything we've done right now. But when there's a parallel balloting, we are not covering this use case yet. So you need to tell us so that we analyze what we could do here. So all of you, if you have specific collaborations where you need to share the draft with external organizations or use please let us know and we'll be addressing it.
I have the same kind of question, how it works with the projects developed under Vienna agreements when it's ISO lead.
Yeah, so this is being studied as we speak. For the ISO IC, the Vienna and Frankfurt agreements, the team at ISO CS is currently analyzing what could be done. So do we want to have a single ballot where we provide access, to the other organization? Or is it that we need two ballots because we have two actual different comments coming in? And apparently this is the case. So sometimes the same member, ISO or IC or SEN, same member may have different positions and different comments because the context is different. So this is being modelized, but they are out of scope. So they were part of the out of scope project for now.
Thank you.
There is an online question.
Oh yes, sorry for the people online. Don't hesitate to interrupt us as well. I'm not checking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries.
Thanks.
First of all, I would really encourage you to further develop this offline editing, because not only to be efficient while traveling, but also if you are in a space with poor connectivity, the OSD tool sometimes get disappointed and forgets that you have resolved 10, 15 comments, and then it says, oh, I'm sorry, you did not have connectivity, and then you have to go back and see which parts is now unsaved. So yeah, not only when you don't have a connection, but when you have a poor connection, it would be great to work offline.
I know that quite a few of you have experienced connectivity error problems in the recent past, and we are currently working with our technical team on fixing these issues. So it's also about us, having a better, a very reliable platform, especially for the 1st of January when we do the rollout. Very often, you can have a poor connection, or you can have an interrupted connection for any reason. You're shifting network, or something happens. We are going to make sure at least the system tells you as early as possible, there was an issue with your system, please refresh, so that you don't do work that you don't know what's going on with it. So that's the first thing we're going to fix in the coming weeks, actually. So when we need to time you out, we will time you out properly. You can refresh your session, and then you can do good work again. You won't be in that limbo where you don't exactly know if you're connected or not. So that's the first thing we want to do, so that you're reassured and you're always aware of what's going on. The offline mode, the main challenge of the offline mode in a collaborative environment is that if 3 or 4 different people work offline at the same time, when they want to push their changes, then there is, if there are developers in this room, you need to do version control, because potentially 2 people have locked clause 4, and when they push, who's right? Who's first? Who's second? Who's overriding who? So we hear the use case. Definitely we hear it. But I think if we have an offline mode, it probably will be for leaders. And we'd have to, have a way to control what can be done offline and what cannot be done offline. So what would be very useful for us is to understand what is it you do offline? Not, just requesting the feature, but is it that you change the text? Do you alter the structure? Do you resolve comments? So if you could tell us, real use cases, and we know you want to do everything, but tell us the most important stuff. Like, I want to be able to resolve comments when I'm offline. That would be already great. Then we have something to get started instead of developing an entire offline mode. That would be very complex.
Question, can
Thank
I
you.
make proposed change mandatory? When commenting, when someone comments, I want a mandatory proposed change.
At technical drafting, stage 0 to 20?
Anywhere.
So we are going to formalize probably in 2025 that for member commenting, this is the case. So the member body will not get the option to make just pure comments anymore. For the technical commenting at WDS or before, I have a question. Why can't you tell your experts to make proposals? They would not listen to you? Okay, so.
Not always.
Yeah, we get it. We get it. We try to understand, also when rational, communication can make the job, because there's value in these comments as well. It's not nil.
I actually had another question related to where we were before I asked my question. And that was, where did you change or where did you reconnect a comment to its proper place in the document? Because I have an issue that many comments, they lose their place in the document. So I didn't saw.
So when you're on the comment, you see in purple where it applies. And here, when you click and you move the comment, so the option I'll show you, it's here.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, so you can move the comment here, and then it goes where it's supposed to. And you can move the comment across clauses, and you know, you can remove it anywhere you like.
Good.
And we have a follow-up on the previous question.
Yeah, it was just that it saves a lot of time if you have the proposed change, because otherwise you just discuss what changes are going to be made. And if it's mandatory, it's well, it saves a lot of time. So
please raise this officially to us. So we are noting everything, of course, today, but we also have a feedback channel that you can connect to, and we can make this configurable. So I guess there would be an option in the future where when you initiate your WDS, you have an option, allow all forms of comments or only proposals. And then the OSD can do that very easily.
I have a question regarding the commenting. Someone else has made a comment. I think it's a good comment. I can, if I understood right, I can say it's a good, I support it. But I think this should be changed. I want another word in that comment. Should I comment on the comment or comment on the text which doesn't include that sentence?
So as leaders, you can edit the comments. You're the only ones today who can do that. You can do that only at technical stage. So if as a leader you want to improve the comment or the proposal, you can, but your working group experts cannot do that on each other's comments. If you think that would be useful, we could do it, but that could create lots of problems as well. So at the moment for working group experts, they would have to bring a reply and they would have to say, you can improve it by doing this. And then as leaders, you need to take that into account.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one question too. You seem to be running low on battery, by the way. But anyway, you seem to be running low on battery. It's okay. Okay, fine. Then
been worse.
Question about usability, really. Would it be possible to customize so you always get to see the comments when you enter the document? Because I will always do it from a reviewer's perspective, so I will always need to see the comments. So every time I go into a document, I need to turn that on. It would be great if we would be built in, so you can set. I always see comments.
That's easy to do as well. So it's a great feedback.
Okay,
it's a great feedback.
Okay, thank you.
We will implement it. I guess you want only that when you are in the resolution stage, right? So 2060, 3060, or you want it all the time? All the time. So for leaders, you would want to see that by default all the time. Does that make sense across the room? We have 3 days to exchange. So exchange, bounce the ideas. And in a way, it's also for us, you know, to formalize that feedback. We need to see how we have a very efficient way to voice these requests from your different experts. So we can explore this.
Hello, hi. I have a question. Sebastian here, Asta0. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. We work a lot with graphics and flowcharts and quite complex pictures and illustrations. And we use different programs for that. Is it best to import pictures, or is the idea to use some kind of editor in the OSD?
No. So that's a good question. We haven't tackled graphics for the ones of you who handle graphics. So the OSD is not intended, and I don't think for the foreseeable future, to be an editing tool for everything. It's an editing tool for the contents. The exception being the equations where you have an inbuilt feature that lets you create MathML. So here, basically, when I create a formula, I have a Iris MathML editor. So you can create your formulas like this. You even have this nice little feature if you have, you know, the stillets that recognizes automatically the equations. I used to do maths before. Oh, it's not bad. Huh? So here I'm inserting my equation. And when you want to make a proposed change on the equation, and the tool is full of things, huh? You can actually edit the equation itself, -1. And the proposed changes are proposed change equations. So when you're here, you know, like this is better. I'm saving this. When you approve that as, you know, it's accepted, you can actually apply the change on the fly. And that changes the equation, which is really great. But that was not the question. I just wanted to show off with this. So when I insert a graphic, you have to submit your assets. So here, I need to be careful what I'm putting the screen. Those are my personal pictures. Here we go. So you're going to submit, you know, an asset, and we are going to implement an asset management system in the coming month. That means that you'll have an interface to put your PNGs, JPGs, but also revisable files. And those will be stored on the ISO system. They'll be ready so that when you have to submit your document at stage 40, you have nothing more to submit. But the tool doesn't include an editing tool for diagrams and graphics and flowcharts and things like that. So you still have to do them besides the scenes. If you think it would be useful to have an online editing tool for these things, you need to tell us. And we'll send the bill to Lisa, I guess, to develop this.
And I suppose it's possible to use vector files also, and not just PNG and bitmaps and GIF formats.
So at the moment, only PNGs. End of October, all formats, including revisable files.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I have a question as well, or more a comment or request maybe. Would it be possible to make it optional for the experts to see each other's comments? Because in some groups, they're going to start commenting on each other's comments, and they're going to press like and dislike, and some experts will interpret those likes and dislikes as, okay, we have 10 likes for this one, so that one is consensus, so let's move on.
So yeah, it would be possible. At the moment when members comment, they have a silo, but that's because that's what directives say. They don't allow, you know, members to see each other's comments during a national commenting phase. For the technical commenting, there's nothing really specific in the directives, but that feedback goes against what TMB is trying to push forward. So yes, it's technically possible, but I'm finding myself in a situation where, you know, if that's a reality, that collaborative authoring and collaborative technical drafting doesn't exist, it's a feedback we need to raise to TMB, because they need to realize, you know, that at the moment, I would say we don't have a mandate to implement such features.
No, I would,
yeah. And I understand your feedback.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have the possibility to make our comments editorial or technical, but most of them are political. And making the system, it's very easy to influence the system, maybe in a biased way. Kind of effortlessly, you can put, yes, I support this. Or you can read the comments from others yeah, you don't have to put so much effort in stating your point, really. So I'm not really liking it.
And I understand, you know, but as an implementer of the wheel of the TMB, it's a challenging feedback that you're giving us right now, because there's no notion of political comment. And to our understanding, technical drafting is supposed to be a very collaborative environment where people bring a draft forward, right? So again, for all of you around the tables, is this really a localized problem? We need also to have an extent of the problem, like, does this happen 10% of the time, 20% of the time, 90% of the time? So please exchange with your fellow colleagues at SIS. Maybe you can raise this through your managers. And then we have something we can compare with other members, and then we can make a real case, you know, that, okay, collaborative authoring, you need to have a controlled collaborative authoring, and we are going to look into new features.
Well, I just want to point out that I think it's good that you use OSD before you get, before you have feedback, because you have to have a true case, I think, not a theoretical one. So that's just my opinion.
I mean, my point is, I think the system looks very good overall, the technical solutions. This is about the discussion climate in the group, and that will be there regardless of what tool we use. And this is something new, which is not enabled at the moment, and this will radically change the working environment in some groups, because if we do this in our groups, people will comment on each other's comments. In some cases, they would turn up to the working group meetings angry at each other already, and you will have some people pulling in 10 experts just so they can do 10 thumbs up to all their comments and 10 thumbs down to everything else, and they will start commenting on other people's comments, overloading them so they don't have the time to respond. So for some groups, this, I mean, it's about the discussion climate. It has nothing to do with the tool.
But
I fully agree with this comment.
Yeah, so what we've seen also with, because I completely agree with your approach. Now it's in a system, you know, where everything is transparent and shared as well. So if a person writes something very nasty, you know, in a reply, everybody can see it as well. So it kind of also puts people in front of their responsibilities. So it's true that we've seen some improvement of behavior because now everything is tracked. And maybe when you try it out, you'll see that these people may be less problematic. I don't know.
How many standard processes have yourself taken part in?
Projects?
Yeah.
So far about 400.
Thank you.
This is also because I'd like now us to move to the next slide before lunch, if possible, to explain what the rollout is, because it's not enough. We got only 400, you know. We spent 5 years on this program. We've invested quite a lot of money from the members because we work on your budget to create a tool that's good for you. So we're going to explain to you what the rollout means in the next slides, what the default option means.
So there's just the submission stage, but a lot of great questions. Okay, so we are coming to an end of our presentation. I'm sure you are all very hungry. Let me just scroll. So the last part I just wanted to quickly discuss was the submission stage in the project life cycle. So you can see here in the document life cycle where that happens in the document. So we're going to look at the OSD submission at 30.99. So you can basically submit in several locations in the project. So the first steps remain the same. as you're used to. So you would select the submission, you would enter the title of the project information, and then of course the submission information as shown in the screenshot provided here. So the type, if there are any graphics, the language mode, and whether there are any electronic inserts, yes or no. As mentioned before, let me just scroll down to the next slide. When it comes to adding files, so if you're working in the online document, the reference copy, the PDF, does not need to be submitted. Like I've mentioned, very crucial. If you do submit that PDF document, the online document will be the only one that will be reviewed by ISO/CS. If you do submit both, please ensure that both documents are aligned in content with one another. And it's only the explanatory report that remains mandatory document for the DIS stage. I'm not in presentation mode, I apologize. Not that it's important. Just a couple of key points. So before you finalize your submission, you need to ensure that you check all the documents, that your documents do not have any track changes. Ensure that all the submitted and explanatory reports and CD comments and resolution files have been submitted, and ensure the online document is complete in all of its elements, figures, and displayed correctly. This is what it looks like. So once you've submitted, it's just to show you a screenshot. So once you've submitted that file, the submission will appear in yellow, as you can see here under the status. So it's just to show you that the submissions list screen, what it looks like in the OSD. Okay, this has been a very big question. So OSD default as of 2025. I'm not sure why this is popping up here. So OSD becomes default as of 2025. So as you have all already been aware, and if you haven't read so already, there's the TMB communicate that was circulated. It's also available on our OSD website if you'd like to read the full decision, taken by the SMB and the TMB, that as of 2025, we are going default. And that is for the new and revision projects that are considered to be eligible to go into the OSD, which we explained to you earlier. So 90% of our deliverables can go into the OSD. 10% of the catalog is still being worked on. Hopefully we have those MSS, IWAs, multilinguals available to enter the OSD platform in the near future, as well as amendments. So basically, it's not mandatory, but it's very much, I mean, we're doing a soft rollout as of 2025. So if, for example, you are afraid or you feel, oh, I don't know if, we are ready for this. I don't know if my working group members, feel confident enough to work in the online document. It's crucial that you first contact your TPMs and provide a valid reason or explanation on why your project is not able to enter the OSD platform. It could be it's a complex project. It's got, hundreds of graphics and images, but it's a discussion that you really need to have with your TPM first. Come back to ISO and see if we need to support you further. Are there any blocking points? Do you require more training, more support? But it's not just, we don't want to enter OSD and that's it. It's really a conversation that needs to go back and forth between ISO CS and the Secretariat, and to see how we can support you through this transition. So we don't use the word mandatory, but it is default for those eligible projects as of 2025. I think, Patrice, do you want to add something?
No, that was rightly put. So we are not going to bargain with you, and we are not going to force your hand into using the OSD, because we don't believe that's the right approach. Also, we want to make now a big statement that it becomes the default mode, but also that's a very complex topic. You saw that the standardization process has many different steps, right? So if you believe this is the right tool for your technical drafting and that it would fasten, the process of coming with the first version of a draft, use this. And then when you're about to launch your CD ballot, contact your TPM saying, my CD is going to be tough. It's going to be political. I'm going to get thousands of comments. I want to use a traditional approach. That's very sensible. And we know that OSD has probably issues handling thousands of comments, and we can work on it. We want to start understanding, where the pain points are, and at the extended level. We can't have just 400 projects. We need the 2,000 projects there to understand what are your key priorities as well. And that's a way for us to, instead of doing change management by adoption, we're going to get all the problems, because you're going to be able to justify, you know, even in the working group, there's a big political problem. I can't use this tool. I need to control for that and that reason. And that those are also things we can feed back to TMB, because TMB is also, you know, they want to make it default, but they don't have that intent to make it mandatory for all projects.
Can I just make a comment on that as well? I hope that this afternoon you will also see sort of the benefits, not only for you as standardizers, but what this tool can do for us in the sort of setting. Why are we doing this? It's not only to help you write the standards in a collaborative way, it's what we can actually do with the standards sort of beyond the PDF, which is why we do see real benefits on that side as well, but you will get some more input on that
exactly.
after lunch.
So in a way, the last 4 years, we got pilots into the OSD that could set the mark for what standardization 1.0 would be. Don't miss the opportunity to set the mark for what standardization 2.0 can be. You have a unique occasion right now to also tell your committees, and you're going to see this afternoon what we can do. There should be no question. You know, we can improve the tool, but it leverages so much added value that you should not miss this occasion. If you have revision of important projects, now is the time to make them ready for, you know, more digital consumption, like Lisa was saying. So this afternoon will be very exciting, I think.
Was it correctly understood from my side that only preliminary, preparatory, and proposal stages are the stages that those stages are proper to you? I mean, there where you start, right? Yeah,
starting
so you
points.
cannot or shouldn't start using OSD if you are in CD or DIS, whether it's a revision or a new.
Exactly. If you have a very advanced drafting already, and if you're at CD stage, there'll be no conversion of these projects into the OSD.
Thank you.
We could do it if you know you want to move towards that. We could do it.
A question about a Fonto-based system, because I have a problem to see when you say it's rendered correctly, for example, the figures and so on. What does that mean in Fonto? Is it how I look at it is in Fonto, or how it's look in the preview PDF function, or where can I judge what is the proper display of my figures and the text and so on?
That's a very good point. So when you export a PDF or a docx out of Fonto, you actually communicate now with our actual production chain. So the rendering of the PDF is the one you see in the PDF. And Fonto is not WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. It's not like that, and it never will be. It's not the intent, again, because we don't want working group to focus on formatting. We want them to focus on the creation of the contents, because like Lisa is saying, also moving forward, you know, we are trying to explore more digital deliverables for certain things. I'll give you an example with tables. So we have a lot of committees who have very complex tables, layout tables, you know, with stairs going down, going up, different color codes. That reads very well when you're in a PDF or a Word document. It reads super well. If you give that to Volvo, they can't use that. They need, you know, functions that they can exploit in their systems, or they need a way to input a variable and get a value out. And this is the possibility that could be leveraged with software supplements or electronic inserts, or even an Excel table is better than a layout table that you need to read, you know, where you look left, right, up like this. So the OSD also opens these possibilities, you know, for going beyond just the formatting. So now to go back to your question, there are layout codifications available for figures like layout, landscape, portrait, the size, and all that. And we are doing two things as we speak right now. We are going to try to make it visual for you what are the settings you're putting in. You can see it very clearly. So we are going to introduce vertical labels in tables, for instance. You will not see vertical labels, but you'll have an information telling you that you've put that tag there. And we are improving our rendition out of Typify so that the PDF looks perfect. So if you have still issues with the rendering out of the OSD, let us know. This is something we want to fix by the end of the year.
We are good. There was just a couple of information that I wanted to share with you, but we'll also circulate. I think most of you have received the presentation already from Lisa, and we'll circulate the slides where you can find additional resources and support around OSD. But just quickly to briefly show you, in the ISO Help Desk knowledge base, we have a dedicated tab called Online Standards Development. If you click on this here, this is really where you can find all relevant articles, trainings, resources, quick guides, quick start videos that you can play at the start of your meetings. There's really, I mean, everything you can find here. It's really an incredible place to get information. This help beacon here, located on the top right-hand corner, excuse me, of the screen, is also very useful. If you have any questions, you feel stuck, you cannot find your answers via the search engine or any of the navigation options in the knowledge base, you can submit your question here, and the IT help desk will typically respond within 1 or 2 days, I would say. If you would like to sign up for additional trainings, we have an abundance of new trainings available since August. So we have the training and resources for resource orientation sessions. So if you ever want to know how to get oriented, where to find more information, again, we have a 6-minute video you can play at the start of your meetings to help people understand, where can they access information and where they can sign up for trainings. We have the skill bite training session. So this is new. So we have them around authoring, leading a project, as well as voter, option A and option B. We have trainings available till the end of this year. You can also watch the space. We are going to be introducing interactive training sessions come November, where you can log in and actually work in the tool and perform different exercises and case studies. Again, you have the new feedback sessions. So if you are working in OSD, you'd like to provide feedback, you can register and meet with our specialist, Christina Palesh, who is leading the user feedback sessions and gathering all that user feedback to see how we can better enhance and improve the tool. So again, there's so much here. You have the sandbox environment. You need to request access via the ISO help desk. You can already start going in the tool. If you're not currently working in an online document, you can start testing it, playing around with it. We have exercises that you can follow as well. And another thing I wanted to show you is the OSD website. So if I go back to the chat, click the link here. No, did I send the link? I don't see it on your screen. Oh, yes, here it is. No. But I don't. Oh, I sent it as a personal. You don't have the OSD website saved as a favorite? I tried to find it and I couldn't find it. So we have the Online Standards Development OSD website. So it's been revised and enhanced. It was really out to date, but we've updated it for you. So if anyone is looking for more information, they want to get familiarized with the OSD, we have everything around what the project is about. This is a great short video you can also play at the start of your meetings to give a general overview, high-level information of the OSD, what are its benefits. So it's a really a great video. You want to know more about the eligible projects, which deliverables within the catalog are considered OSD approved and which ones are not. You have the TMB communicate, the full communication here if you want to learn more about the resolution and the decision taking place to go default. And again, the program has been running for almost 5 years. Patrice has been part of that journey since the beginning. If you want to know where we started, you know, where we're at and where we're headed, you can find more information here as well. And again, all the training and resources are available on this webpage. You can access the links directly here, which will redirect you to the knowledge base. And if you want to hear more about what other members are saying about the tool, we have some videos and testimonials here available as well. So that brings us to an end. I will see hopefully most of you this afternoon, but I can't stress enough. Thank you so much for being here today. It's, you know, it's not easy, but, you know, we're here together and we're here to support you. And we want to hear your questions and concerns because we want to make this, you know, the best tool possible for developing your standards. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So like I said, there are wraps outside for you to chat around, and we will reconvene at 1:30. So you have some time to check your emails, etc.